cut Jarviskjir and his meddling dog. No, that's not quite right, quote. Close enough.
Guys, I don't know whether you heard, but Doxy threatened me earlier. She said she was going to pumice me.
How long have you? How long ago did you come up with that? And just now wait.
During the break.
Okay. You have the Earth Elemental's essence trapped and can start making your way back to the ruins.
That joke was lame, Stone. Fuck it.
When you get back, you actually see that they have a they have their own sort of palanquin kind of thing, where they're actually loading up the statues onto it, where it's being lifted up by several elves so they can carry it through the forest. When you get back with the stone, you know, the witch lady whose name is Anlin, saying like, I can make the cure back at the settlement. Come, we'll bring your friend along. It'll all be safe and sound. And you're brought back to Fansharas. As the curative magics is being worked on, you're encouraged to rest and sleep, and you go back to your rooms in the little inn inside the wall. I mean, it would actually make sense you'd all have one open room that they kind of let you have while you're here. And come the morning after a tired, maybe stressful sleep of, will this magic work? Was that for anything? What about the kobolds we let get away? Will their stress look good on Serena? Similar, you know, the worries that keep you up at night. You know, you're kind of bleary-eyed in the morning when Vale can stroll into the room, freshly cured.
Hello,
Pebbles.
I hope you all realize how much you took me for granite. You see? Chat ruined that one multiple times. I've been sitting on that since it got turned to stone.
We missed you.
I didn't. I had no idea what was going on, really, you know. No sense of time, no dreams, nothing.
You were just awake, and then here you are.
Quite peculiar, really.
You feel okay now?
Yes. Yep. I am fully soft and immobile. Mobile.
A little bit stiff, I would imagine, but...
No, not at all, actually. You know, full range of movement. You know, that's, you know, you might expect that, but none at all, really.
I'll go give him a hug and squeeze his butt. It definitely feels firmer.
I was tensing.
I'm glad you're not a statue.
Me too, actually. As much as I would be a fantastic statue, I'm a much better elf.
I would have for sure kept you on the ship.
Cool, great. I get to spend my entire life on that.
Beautiful boat. Wondrous vessel.
Mm-hmm. Definitely what I was going to say, yep.
If you could have kept him in the captain's quarters, and then he would be forever cucked. Watching Lyra bring many a men back. There's just a Vale statue, like whole time.
And then when a ship sinks, you would finally go down on it.
It's always Dean Cuddy with the real punchline.
But if I ever did end up getting Gil in bed, I wouldn't know if he was looking at me or looking at the statue of Vale.
I'd cover Vale's eyes. Don't look. Right.
But he's all together now.
Yes. With the whole veil turning to stone thing, I did not have the opportunity to distribute this. Yeah, this was money that was in the Medusa's lair.
Saw pretty dresses too. I want one.
Oh, great. We got gold. Fantastic.
700 gold each, I believe.
I will take the 700 from Dale. That's mine. Just kidding. I'm putting
That's fair. Are you sure?
How much do I owe you,
You owe me
Gillen?
that as well, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, definitely at least that. I feel like you put down like 2,000, didn't you?
Yes.
It's fine. We'll pay him back. We always do, don't we, Gil? Do you remember that time when you were supposed to be in slavery and then I paid off your debt?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Eh?
Is it too late to reverse the notification?
I'm sure something can be arranged.
I hold up the Medusa head. I'm just kidding. I don't.
You still have it, to be fair. It's not gonna. You have a bunch of heads now. Head belt.
Banging around like coconuts.
Mm.
Yes, I would not mind picking up one or two of those dresses myself. It was on the way to Thundra, wasn't it? If we head back in that direction, I'm sure no. It wasn't on the way to Thundra. Damn.
You could take a detour.
We could take a detour.
It's not that I want to stop you from getting those dresses, but they were probably made by slaves working for the Drow. He looks at Indira. And I feel like time is quite important.
Hey, Vale, can you give me an insight roll?
I could. What's it to you, punk? I'm doing it.
The sass today. I just want to have fun with my friends and nearly kill you.
You tell me to stone, dude.
You look at Indira, and you actually did see some of the dresses in that room before you turned to stone. And some of them were very drow. You know, it was sort of like there's one with like a spider design across the chest that kind of sprawls out. She looks like a drow, kind of, in like drow dress. She could probably blend in if you ever needed that. As a fancy drow too.
Vale's not going to mention that.
Okay.
He doesn't want his,
Sweet Babu.
surrounded by evil drow in nothing but a dress.
Nothing but a dress. One of the most covering garments of all time.
These dresses were not very covering.
Well, you see, they're not
They
they're not
were
very
described
covering
as
when
very
slashed with a
sheer.
katana.
They were sheer dresses, yes.
I mean, Serena is currently wearing one, so although this is an elven design rather than a
Act
drow.
like you don't want to see her in it, though.
Well, Serena's wearing more than she usually does right now.
Hmm.
So, are we going to take a detour to get you guys some clothes?
Do it on the way back.
Right, that sounds like a good idea.
Although,
Have we spoken to Aaron Alis?
briefly when you were a statue.
Not regarding the issue of the drow, no.
No.
Thank you, Serena. He said he would accompany us back.
I believe so. That was...
We should probably attempt to meet with him as soon as possible. Look, we'll mention to him that there were some dresses there that we may need to persuade the council and that he should send some men to bring them in and put them in a chest and lock it away. And then we can come back and get them later on, yes? Fair deal?
That seems an excellent compromise.
Indira?
Yeah.
Great, then.
They might even... I did not see anything regarding plans or anything at a cursory glance, but I imagine they've already turned the place up looking for those anyway.
And, thanks, guys. That must have been hard for you. No? Come on! I'm the one who was petrified. Give me something.
Serena is smiling.
It was tough.
That's it?
It was
It
hard.
was really tough.
Fine. Okay, that'll do.
It was rather less entertaining with particularly these two. They were hardly talking, you know.
Serena is being the nicest one out of all of you right now. That is alarming.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I love you so much that it was hard for me to see you like that and wonder if you would ever be back to this pain in my ass ever again. I'm sorry.
But I'm back now.
And thankful I am for that.
You, from the room you have, it's like kind of the roof room. Like, there's a window by the door. You can see Ara and Alis, like, walk up to the door, hear you arguing, and just stop. Like, waiting. Through the kind of, like, stained glass of that little window. It's quite pretty.
Well, if you missed me so much, perhaps you could tell me.
I did. Twice.
But were you being truly honest?
I missed you very much. I missed you. I was scared for you.
Vel looks a little disappointed and then looks away.
Perhaps we should invite our guest in.
What?
Technically, you are my guests. I own this city.
Or we can... Yes.
The wall is quite thin on this side of the fortification. I can hear everything you're saying.
Enter.
And he will open and walk through. It should be...
She rolls the Medusa head toward him.
He, like, would stop it with his foot. I'm gonna kind of look at it and just be like, ugh. Then we should make haste to Thundrol if we want to have a meeting of kings.
There are a lot more petrified people back there.
We have the cure. I'm not going to be leaving with everyone here. While we talk about war, we can set...
I just want to make sure they're taken care of. That's all.
Be rest assured, my people are... That is our priority right now.
Okay,
We
thank you.
can... But we have bigger problems to deal with than some petrified slaves. We should make haste to Thundrol. Meet with the king.
Indira cracks her knuckles and breathes in slowly through her nose.
He's a prince, Era. Can it?
This is me canning it.
Can it more? Control! Control! Yes, I think we should head to High Thundrol. Perhaps Thundrol first. I cannot remember exactly what you were saying because my associate and I are having a good laugh about something.
He gives a knowing smile, kind of like half turns away and is like, prepare your carriage. I prepare my own. We'll travel together. We'll make our way to the King's Palace in Thundrol. And we'll have some... The Lord Protector, at least, will definitely be visiting. I'll see if anyone else I've sent a message to will be able to make it on such short notice. See you on the road. And he will
Very much.
Thank you.
head off.
Indira, he's a prince. He's a very friendly one at that. We are going to be going to a meeting with many, many powerful people, all of whom could have you executed.
Right.
Please be more careful.
I was downright meditative compared to how I can be.
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's not what he's saying.
And everyone can run another person through, but we're all human, so to speak,
Maybe
and can show
I
restraint.
oughtn't attend this meeting.
He rescued those people. I don't understand your problem.
He also
I believe the problem was his attitude could have come across as dismissive. I do not believe that is how he intended it, but he could have been seen as dismissing the
Of
petrified
course.
slaves.
he
Yes,
intends to
dismiss-
return them to slavery.
Elves don't practice slavery. They were slaves to the drow. That is what he meant.
Oh. So we have a meeting to go to.
Next time, promise me you will listen to me more. Just until we're sure. Hmm?
I read it. I held it together.
You cracked your knuckles in front of a prince.
I had to.
That's-
It was
that's
a
like me
crack of the
sharpening
knuckle
a
or a
dagger.
crack of the lightning, Vale. Take your pick.
You know what? If you did the lightning, I wouldn't have to deal with this.
There is a broom beating the floor of your tavern room.
Fine, let us go and prep the carriage.
Swoosh. You can get ready to head out. You actually see in the sort of middle of Fanchras, because it's, a ring, that group of petrified people sort of one by one is kind of stumbling out of the herbalists, very confused, having people like sort of sitting down, explaining what's going on as far as they can tell. But however long, who knows how long that Medusa's been there? These weren't all people who were just in this recent sort of invasion being turned to stone. So there's a lot of people from a lot of times that are going to be needed to have things explained to them. You can set up your carriage. Aranellis is in his own carriage with a couple of people. And you can set up back on the road to Thundral. It's a mostly inoffensive travel through the springs. Some days are warmer, some days are colder. Some days in this kind of forest the wind's quite strong and the trees really bend. And you're always impressed that they don't just all topple over in that kind of strong winds. Definitely hard to keep the horses on track during that kind of weather. But in no time at all, you make it back to Thundral. When you do, and kind of like while you're at the gate, because there's actually like a slight bit of a queue of people like be entering the city. Aaron will kind of like he's sitting on one of these horses is his horse, and he's like sitting on it, looking over to probably Vale, who's driving the cart. So my plan is to go right to the king. I have sent letters off to important individuals. We could wait for another day. Maybe that will bring another ear to our cause. Hire some rooms here in the city. I do not know if this is a sort of problem where we can wait another day. Even then, I do not know exactly how we will create a solution to the problem of drow.
We must presume that time is against us, and I would worry that it may be dangerous for you to spend time in the city prior to seeing the king. I'm sure not everyone has forgiven you for certain actions.
I never broke any laws.
Yes.
And neither did you, according to official records. Huh?
Yes, official records here in Thundral.
Where else would they matter?
Who do you think might we be able to add to the voices should we wait a day?
You're right. We cannot afford to wait. Plus, we're going to have several very important people in one throne room at once. If I were a drow who, if superstition is correct. Has spies all over the place. Merely this meeting is dangerous.
I hadn't even considered that.
That is why I am the tactician. We'll go to the palace immediately. There's still some day, and I'm sure the king will not be having his afternoon trance yet. At that point, the gates of Thundral open, and you start traveling in, stable the carriages. You fucking have a Pegasus. You could just fly on ahead while everyone else gets up on their carriages. One bodyguard goes with Aaron, but none of the rest of his entourage.
Cool.
And you can get on the carriage and fly up towards the palace. As I described before of Thundral, with the flying islands that make up the city, there's High Thundral right at the very top, and then below it is what they call the Sky City, which is really the moat, like the meat of the city, the biggest trade, where all the fancy rich people live and stuff, and it's higher and higher and higher the more rich you are. Kind of off to the side is the Palace of the King. It's very much one of the things where the entire island of it is all the lands that the palace controls. It's got vast gardens and actually forests around it on this chunk of floating magical rock. The palace itself is very similar to the looks of High Thundral, a little more modern, but even then, this has probably been made thousands of years ago. And when the carriage sort of lands there at the sort of carriage stop, beautiful mosaics that go down the courtyard, coated by trees and statues, and the guards kind of step forward, and he's like, "I am Aaron Aelus, I have a meeting with the king," kind of brushes them away, and like, "They will be traveling with me?" Like, yes, of course. Kind of step back and all of that sort of such. And you can start marching towards the palace. Again, it's grand. Not quite as grand as High Thundral, but also not as empty and kind of sad as the palace of High Thundral. There are plenty of people about. Elven nobility, either relatives, soldiers, royal guard, just straight up diplomats, all sorts of people are here. The courtyard's around on a day like today with bright sunlight. There's people just straight up having like a picnic in the castle grounds, It's what you imagine High Thundral might have looked like in its heyday. It's not all war. There's definitely soldiers training off to one area, but there's people living their lives, which is important. You, following behind Aaron, straight up march through areas of the castle, kind of never pushing away guards, but always kind of just like motioning to them to move out of the way, before heading up right up to the throne room. And you can tell it's the throne room behind this door. The door is unnecessarily large, but also very, very detailed, engraved, golden, that sort of thing. And then he'll pause and he'll turn to a lot of you and was like, "Let me go first. I have, this man was like a father to me. I left on uncomfortable terms. Plus, there will be more people meeting, probably coming from all sorts of taverns, knowing that I am here now, so schmooze." And then he will go through the doors into the throne room. You only see a glimpse of it, but there's kind of like a light from the chamber beyond, leaving you in what best can be described as a royal waiting room. Plush benches, there's pillars that kind of are not only for structural, but are also greatly beautiful. Everything here is a kind of, usually a sort of very pale stone, with tapestries coating the walls, engravings, gold inlaid in the pillars in some places. Away from the kind of outside the courtyard, it's actually quite quiet in here. There's kind of drifting music coming from somewhere nearby. It's hard to place it.
Well, waiting is fun.
At least it is comfortable, Serena says, lounging on a couch.
I suppose. It's just difficult to wait at a time like this.
You're an elf. You shouldn't mind
Yes.
waiting at all.
Yes, I know. I am an elf. So a drow. They are wanting to
try to have a
kill.
little more patience, Vale.
Do you have a problem, Indira?
None at all.
Then shut up.
Hey, Vale, do you think they'll let me keep the Pegasus?
It's not their choice. The Pegasus chose you. Or at least agreed to have you for a while. I mean, hey, it may well outlive you.
I think everybody here will. I'm growing more used to that.
I would not imagine that is true of me.
Really?
No, mermaids do not. We can have similar lifespans to humans, but that is a best case scenario.
Really? How old are you?
I am only, actually, to be completely honest, I do not know my exact age, but
Indira gives you the knucks.
yeah.
Less than a human?
Yes, on average, mermaids do not live to what a human would consider old age. I mean, that is partially due to the lifestyle more than their biology, perhaps.
Too much salt.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
Me either.
There is no need to apologize. It is not for the length of your life, it is what you do with it. And personally, I intend to live however many years I have to their full.
It would be nice to have another several hundred.
I would not
Still,
mind.
like, less than a human's old age?
All right, don't rub it in.
No, I mean, this is just, you know, I turned my first century recently. I'm very young. It is just, I say that not to rub it in, but to make you understand how bizarre this concept is to me.
There are artifacts and magics out there. Could prolong you.
I would certainly not object to several hundred years of living in comfort, but as I say, it does not concern me overly. It is not something that you really consider. It's a
Well,
difference of perspective, I suppose.
maybe living a comfortable life gets boring very quickly.
Oh, when I say comfortable, I of course mean in the lap of pleasure.
Yes. Perhaps after 60 years you get bored of that. So this lifespan is a blessing.
It's around this time that someone else enters the waiting room you're in. They are at least partly elven blood, wearing armor that you actually heard coming slightly, but there's a lot of knights walking around. It's a very strange armor. You've never seen anything like it before. It's kind of a ceramic or maybe a stone that's blue, but kind of tints on purple in some areas. It's masterwork quality. The man has a rugged beard of silver hair, and silver hair tied up into a neat ponytail with a hair clasp that shows some kind of elven house on it. And he's kind of carrying a small bundle in one hand, and his other hand is on his hip. And he kind of like notices you all stop as you look at him. It's like, No, don't let me stop. Keep talking, please. Don't just pretend I'm not here. I'm here for the meeting.
We're here for the two. Yeah. Or all of us.
His eyes rest on Gilwyn most of all, the lanky human. Well, I suppose it takes all sorts. I thought this was to be a meeting of kings.
Yes.
I should introduce myself. Telefenos, king of Othenfer. He kind of will go up to you for a handshake, gauntleted handshake.
Vale would shake his hand, but like as he says that, Vale's just starting to say, "Who are you?"
It's a big dick energy squeezing handshake.
Of course it is.
Are you an adventuring band?
Yes.
You could say we have a vested interest in this matter.
I'm a solo artist.
Kind of one of the best, I think, actually.
I've had experience with the drow. I come here not only as a king, but as a warrior. I think this might be one of the most serious issues we've ever dealt with, so I'm glad to have experienced hands.
Well, as I say, there's little we cannot do. Am I right, guys?
Except avoid getting turned to stone.
That was a minor inconvenience.
He does laugh out loud.
Telef gives you a look. He's got an eye patch over one eye and quite nasty scarring under it, but you can tell it's a side eye look. And he'll look up to the main door and kind of tap his foot, waiting.
You made it down from Othenfer quickly?
I have a companion that can fly.
Really? A griffin? Not a Pegasus, surely. You are a... He, looks him up and down.
I could have a Pegasus if I wanted a Pegasus.
I have a Pegasus.
Even he has a Pegasus. So actually, I was going
Indira claps a hand over her mouth to hide her smile.
Maybe you could have a Pegasus.
I don't know. Those gauntlets look a bit... Well, they're not that delicate. Pegasus don't like that shit.
Well,
I know. I have a Pegasus.
I see, yes. What Gilwyn means is you maybe do not look pathetic enough for one to take mercy upon you.
Nice attempt at a save.
What? I was...
Just before you talk to the other kings, try not to insult them. Even if it is passive-aggressively. I know, I love that. They are a little more old.
Aren't you the
dusty
king of Othenfer?
Yes.
The Othenfer that is not a whole nation, yes?
There's a complicated situation. I don't need to go into it now.
Of course, you do not need to justify yourself to me, no.
Yes, he is always like this. It's rather entertaining.
Yeah, entertaining.
At this point, the doors open, and he very quickly starts walking down the hall towards the throne.
Indira grabs Vale's arm and is like, "Why didn't you tell me that I could be sassy?"
It's different. Othenfer is not really a kingdom.
Pushes him forward.
You go down a wide hallway that is sided by these golden enlaced pillars. Everything here is a work of art. The throne at the end of the chamber is actually not all that fancy, but behind it is a waterfall that comes down from the grand chambers that kind of gets a little bit of water mist here. And before the throne is the flag of Thundrol, which is kind of, if you imagine that sun symbol, but the circle is much bigger than the outside parts. But every single part of the stonework has its own artworks inside it, and each individual part could be a masterwork piece of art. And in here is standing several people. One of them is sitting. The King of Thundrol is sitting in the throne. He is an old high elf, wearing rich robes, but not an extravagant amount of jewelry. The King of Thundrel has a staff. It seems to be of a solid metal with a yellow diamond sitting at the top that is shining. It catches the light in all the perfect ways at all times, and he's holding on to it, watching a lot of you travel closer. Beside him is Oren Alis, who's clearly having a brief conversation, who... Yeah, he might be a prince, technically, but he does look out of place here with the sort of properness of everything. And then beside, on the other side, is actually the King of Aradia. The Evergreen King looks very different. An old elf still, but whereas the King of Thundrol looks so, like, old with, detailed lines and a sharpness to the face, this one, he still has a degree of youth to him. In part due to some dramatic makeup with dramatic sort of streaks down parts of their face. Wearing armor with a cloak made of autumnal leaves, with a shield equipped here in kind of as show. The shield appears to have almost like a woman's face made of wood on it. The eyes are mirrors and kind of reflect, and he's got one hand on a sword as well. And back over, there's actually Balord Rulius, the High Protector. He is not really taking part in this conversation. He's very definitely removed, but he is still there. It is quite literally a meeting of kings. When you approach Arenalis, we'll actually say to the King of Thundrol, it's like, these are the, I don't know what you want to be called, adventurers, mercenaries? Heroes?
Adventurers, I think.
These are the adventurers that have been helping us. That is Erevel Valinir, the last of the son of line, and the king nods.
They would bow. There's a lot of kings there.
And the King of Thundrol would sort of... Who else here? What are your names? And kind of motion to the three of you.
Indira would sloppy curtsy and say, Indira.
Serena's not making any attempt to bow or anything. Serena, chosen daughter of the Empress. That's probably going to get me murdered here, but I'll be able to do it anyway.
You actually see Aaron kind of like tense at that.
Gilwyn Gallagher, human. Male.
You see the King of Aradia kind of like raise his eyes and straight up say, and in Elvish, but most of you speak Elvish, it's like, you expect that these ramshackle lot is able to deal with a Drow incursion? And Aaron's like, I do not expect them to single-handedly take care of the Drow Empire, but I do believe that they are going to be of great use, and they already have been. Give them a chance.
Indira, throw the
Nathaniel.
Throw the heads.
Indira would throw the heads onto the table.
There's no table, there's just like the ring. Like,
Yeah, on the
on the ground. And that does quiet them. Actually, the King of Thundrel stands up and looks. So it's true. The usurper elves really are attempting a coup on the surface. For untold millennia, they have been not our concern deep in the darkest places of the world, and now they attempt to take this all from us. Looking to you guys, who know the most.
Yes, you could say they wish to usurp the surface.
There is like no smile or nod or anything from them at that.
Bell doesn't smile. It's a correct naming convention. Use it.
I know, but it could be like, it's a joke. It's so... But
It's also hilarious.
If this is true, then we will need quite a serious might. And at this point, Telef actually speaks up and says, I've dealt with Drow before. I have been down to I've been down to the Underdark on multiple occasions, and I will tell you, getting an army down there, and at that point the King of Thunder will like the staff down on the ground and will say, Telof Fenos! Do not mistake your presence here. You are here because you are married to the Moon Queen, not here as a king. You will choose your words wisely.
So you do not listen to one of experience just because of his standing?
Aaron is just sort of like that.
If I may, it is not simply the Drow, but also the other creatures of the Underdark that are working with them.
Telef nods, is like, they have a treaty. The creatures of the Underdark are working together in an unholy alliance, my lords. Do not mistake my knowledge for insult. And there's kind of a slight murmur. And Aaron says, the main issue is we do not exactly know how to travel into the Underdark, and armies we could create would not be capable in the Underdark. Troops of soldiers cannot fly their Pegasi into the cavernous dark, and Telef nods. Even getting into Narashiro, where the Drow live, will be... You would lose 9/10 of all your men. That kind of is a little bit of a... These are elves. They don't kind of murmur. There's kind of like a clenching of the jaw and a seethingness. I will warn you. Drow have powerful magic, powerful allies. Their goddess gives them demons and creatures of the hells as blessings. They bring us a Medusa's head as an example of one such ally. This is not a war against people. This is a war against monsters. Even if some Drow are not.
What?
If we want to fight this war, it'll have to take a different angle.
What if the standing armies of the Elven realms and allies repress the attacks while another army is trained? A crusade to the Underdark. That way we are not throwing away our defenses while punishing the usurpers. Yes, it is difficult to get a army to the Underdark, but it is most difficult because they must travel down. What if we were to directly send the army via tunnels from the breach?
Telef shakes his head like, you would not be suggesting that idea if you've ever been to the breach. I understand your people have done it before, but you're not just going to be bringing Sun Elves. But there is a sliver of a good idea inside your bad idea, Vervail. There's something we can... And that's when you hear a crashing noise outside this chamber. That the King of Aradia straight up like draws sword, shield up, turns, and there's actually a stained glass window that is kind of above where you entered the chamber, and that crashes open as this almost like a chromatic metal sort of ovoid shape crashes into the throne room, and where it lands, 8 spidery legs kind of come out. It's all mechanical, but it was completely flush inside this shape, and it all comes out as this strange, mechanical, smooth, chromatic, metalled spider with these light rubies as eyes that kind of scan the room, and magic starts to charge around it. But that can be a problem for next week.
Ooh, get to fight with Tel. I hope he's got Star Sliver wrapped up in that. Shing.
Yeah, meeting a kings. I think this is like this rarely happens. It's kind of
Yeah. This is like the.
I think these
greatest
actually
gathering.
may be two. Like these kings have never been seen before in Jarviskjir as well, so that's neat. Yeah, it's very neat. We can come back next time. You all look so happy.
I am.
I am.
You got Neil. Yeah, Neil's happy enough for all of you. There's a lot of me talking to myself at the moment, which is it's great. I love it. No.
Yeah, Dira knows better than to speak out of turn right now, I think.
Serena doesn't give a shit and is going to get herself executed.
Oh well.
With that, why don't we talk a little bit about who we are, where we are, and why we are with Neil. Who are you? Why are you?
Hey, I'm Neil at Nagheight on the Discord, at Nagheight_ on Twitter, at Me Questions. You can find me here on a Wednesday at 7 o'clock UTC. Or
It's important because our clocks changed this weekend.
the clock's changing. Or at 2 o'clock UTC earlier on twitch.tv/Daleric for a new Pathfinder Kingmaker campaign, which we've just aired the episode zeros today, which you can catch either on the VOD or on YouTube, I believe now. Scott might not have uploaded it to YouTube. He's slow on that, so just check the Twitch VODs.
Takes him a little bit.
And that
That's
one
fine.
is going to be a lot of fun, I feel.
It's different.
Very different. Very
Yeah.
different.
It's not going to be what you expect from here, but Scott's a great DM and knows Pathfinder pretty well. I had a good time with it, mostly. So, exciting. Next up is Dean.
Speaking of exciting, not me. We just released 2 videos on Mathis Games today. One of them was Kenshi, which we've been continuing with a very good
We've
series.
been doing that for a long time. It must be good.
Yeah, like 36 episodes all in all now. And we just released a new like cinematic series for a new game that was released yesterday called Outward, like an action RPG
Oh,
with
yeah.
like Dark Souls elements and survival elements.
I might watch that, actually. Looks good.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of potential. So those 2 are up on Mathis Games right now. And if you want to listen to me do some song bangs in your ears, then search for Dean Cuts Forth on Spotify, Amazon, Google, all of those places. Bandcamp.
Where
Dean
fighting
Cuts
music is sold.
Forth. Wherever. Have a listen.
Ian? Who is Ian? Tell us about Ian.
Ian is also known as Arvine. Ian is the massive weeb from False Pretenses Discord. At him questions about anime or Jarviskjir, or at him questions about how insufferable Tell is. You have a field day with that.
Yes, there's a lot of stories to tell about Tell.
There are-
If
lot
you
of
couldn't
stories
guess,
to tell.
he is Neil's first asshole character.
My first
I mean,
ever Jarviskjir
To be
character.
fair, Tell is a lot less of an asshole than...
Tell is the least asshole character of most of
Yeah.
Neil's characters, but he's
I'm-
still an asshole.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that Arvine shows up at some point now. That's my first Jarviskjir character, by the way.
We will find her chained up in the Underdark.
Screw you. The only one we're going to find chained up in the Underdark is Ballbreaker.
There was a
100%.
character called Ballbreaker.
Yep.
That is canon.
And that's a Goliath, and their naming conventions is they're named after a great event.
A great
in their
event
lives.
they've done.
Their feats,
Yeah,
yeah.
a
We
never
feat
actually
they've done.
found out
They
what
never knew
exactly
why
the
he was
event
called
was.
Ballbreaker, but
No.
he is called
You
Ballbreaker.
don't just ask a 8-foot tall dude why they're called Ballbreaker, do you? Why
Let
called
me
Ballbreaker?
you.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, and last, Doxy.
Yeah, speaking of ball breakers, then.
There we go. There's the joke.
I'm tired. You can find me at links that I will put in chat shortly.
You can find her at ZER0DOXY. That might be one of them.
That's Twitch and YouTube. For Twitter, it's ZERODOXY.
Can you change that?
I'm bad at branding. I don't know.
You
can.
change.
You can
You
change
can
Twitter,
ask,
yeah.
but it's yeah.
Well, then maybe I'll do that.
But here
Jeez.
at twitch.tv/olirant is me. Ian mentioned the Discord. The Discord is one I actually share with Scott. The game Neil's going to be in, so it's a one-stop shop for a whole bunch of nerdy tat. Also, you get to see my other games. The Sunday game is going to be on a bit of a hiatus, but is going to be coming back in after a week off, probably. And there's also a Monday game that is on Patreon, because this show is supported by Patreon. If you support me for $25 or more, you're really nice. If you support me for $5 or more, you get access to a game on Patreon that has both Ian and Neil. You also get access to all the homebrew I do, like the mermaids and some monsters.
There's quite a lot of homebrew.
There's a
content
lot of
going
stuff.
on.
It is, yeah. And the
I've got a
Monday game-
backlog, so
The Monday game, the asshole is less balanced. In this party, the asshole is fairly well distributed between Vale and Serena. In the Monday game, it's all with Neil's character.
To be fair, Nuri is extremely assholey. Like, he takes Vale plus Tell times 10.
yeah.
That is a
lot.
Like, you think Vale's bad?
Oof. Yeah.
Watch Nuri.
But I'm currently playing a mercenary for a few sessions called Rourke, and he's a nice boy.
You
He is
say
a
he's a nice
nice-sided
boy.
asshole.
He's still got some asshole in him.
He can't just take everything lying down. He's like 7 foot tall and like this wide.
Bella
Can't
Barbwood.
talk about assholes and in him and laying down.
Why not?
Look, when people come to twitch.tv/olirant, they know what they're getting themselves into.
Stop oppressing me, Doxy.
Also, I do other stuff. I'm gonna be doing Pokemon art streams and playing whatever the shit I fucking want on my stream at 9
Would you
PM.
consider doing a Pokemon rap once you've done all the Pokemon?
I already
You do the rap.
mentioned doing that a couple of days ago, and I don't know the rap, so I'm not gonna ever do it. That is not in my Pokemon nostalgia, hence it is garbage.
So if I
That's how it
send you the
works.
rap,
I will
then you'll know it.
not. That's something I know it. I don't absorb information via looking at it. Otherwise, I'd be much smarter. Much smarter. Anyway, that's all that. Come back next week. Meeting a kings. What could go wrong?
Definitely not a giant metal spider crashing into the room, I'll tell you that.
What are the chances, right?